How do you know if you're drinking too much alcohol? I haven't drunk for almost 4 years, but when I was at the height of my drinking, I would search online and ask whether I was an alcoholic, whether I had problems with drinking, to try and reassure myself that everything was okay. I'd also compare myself to my friends and look at what they were drinking in relation to what I was drinking and use that as a measure as to whether I actually had a problem or not. But the reality was that alcohol had control over me. I didn't have control over it. And I think that's a great measure as to whether we actually have a problem with drinking and whether we're drinking too much. And in this video, I'm going to share with you a tool that I actually used when I was drinking that will help you understand whether you're drinking too much and whether it's time to start evaluating your relationship with alcohol. A great measure for looking at whether you're drinking too much is to ask yourself how often you're thinking about drinking. Does alcohol occupy your thoughts often? Are you spending time during the day thinking about drinking later on? If alcohol's taken up a lot of your mental bandwidth, that's a good sign that you're possibly drinking too much. And as I mentioned, if you feel that alcohol has control over you rather than you having control over it, then that's another sign that you're possibly drinking too much and it's time to start looking closer at this. So I'm really pleased that you're watching this video. Now, the tool you can see on the screen at the moment is the DrinkAware self-assessment test, and it allows you to discover whether you're drinking too much, whether you've got a problem with alcohol, and whether you need to look closer at your relationship with booze. This was something that I did myself when I was drinking, and to be honest, it caused me a lot of cognitive dissonance when I got the results. But there's no point burying our head in the sand around this. We need to look closely and we need to understand whether we've got a problem and really accept that in order to start moving forward. So after you've entered your age and your gender, it takes you through a series of questions, which I'm going to go through now based on what I used to drink. So how often do you have a drink containing alcohol? Well, that was pretty much every night, so I'm going to answer that last one. How many units of alcohol do you drink on a typical day when you're drinking? So what's a unit? So this shows you what 1 unit of alcohol actually looks like. And it says you shouldn't regularly exceed more than 14 units per week. Now, I was probably exceeding 14 units some days. And it says, how many units of alcohol do you drink on a typical day when you're drinking? I'm going to put 7 to 9 for that one. The next question is, how often do you have 8 or more units on one occasion? And I guess for me, that probably was daily. So I'm going to put daily or almost. How often during the last year have you found that you were not able to stop drinking once you had started? Well, I could never stop at just 1 glass of alcohol. So again, it's daily or almost. How often during the last year have you failed to do what was normally expected from you because of your drinking? This is a difficult question because drinking was my normal, so that was what was normally expected of me. But looking back, I can see how it took so much away from my life, how I wasn't doing the things that I should normally be doing in terms of my career, my relationships, my ability to parent, you name it. So again, the answer is daily or almost. How often during the last year have you needed an alcoholic drink in the morning to get yourself going after a heavy drinking session? I actually never drank in the morning, so I'm going to put never to that one. How often during the last year have you had a feeling of guilt or remorse after drinking? It was fairly rare that I had a feeling of guilt or remorse, but it would come up when I'd done something that I regretted because I'd been drinking. Maybe sent a text when I was drunk, been rude to somebody, or said something that I regretted. So I would put less than monthly to that one. How often during the last year have you been unable to remember what happened the night before because you'd been drinking? Again, my tolerance to alcohol had built up significantly over the 2 decades of almost daily drinking. This didn't happen very often, and I usually only experienced blackouts when I drank way more than I was usually drinking. And I would say that it was probably something that happened maybe once or twice a month, so I'm going to select monthly for that one. The next question is, have you or somebody else been injured as a result of your drinking? And again, that tended to happen if I went out drinking, if I had one of those big nights where I would return with some kind of war wound. It wasn't often, so I'm going to put yes, but not in the last year to that one. Has a relative or friend, doctor or other health worker been concerned about your drinking or suggested that you cut down? Well, actually, nobody had said to me that they were worried about my drinking. I intentionally avoided the topic with people until I became able to actually face into it and take responsibility for my own behaviour around alcohol. So the truth is that no, nobody had ever said that to me. And here we go. So here's the answer. Your drinking level is possible dependence. You are drinking much more than the UK Chief Medical Officer's low-risk drinking guidelines. Your drinking is dangerous to your health and may already be causing problems to your physical or mental health, or both. Your pattern of drinking causes a range of serious health harms, including 7 types of cancer, liver disease, heart disease, and high blood pressure. Please think seriously about finding expert support to help reduce how much you drink to help you stop drinking. Your answer suggests that you are at high risk of alcohol dependence. To keep health risks to a minimum, the UK Chief Medical Officers advise that it is safest not to drink more than 14 units a week on a regular basis. So I think that shows in no uncertain terms that I absolutely had a problem with drinking. And maybe you want to head over to the website and do the test yourself. But guess what? Even when I saw that, although it planted a seed of doubt in my mind, it took me more than 2 years to take any action, to actually do anything about it and make that change. And my invitation to you is to actually do something. You could join my Stop Drinking program. You could keep working your way through my YouTube videos, but don't do what I did, which was bury my head in the sand, not take any action, and to just leave it for a serious amount of time and allow the problem to get even worse. Because once that seed of doubt about your drinking is planted in your mind, you can never return to ignorant bliss. The only way out is to move forward and to actually face into the problem. And that's what I want you to do. And the best way to face into the problem is to start educating yourself about it. Maybe pick up one of my books and take baby steps into learning what an alcohol-free life actually might look like for you. Now, there's a video next to me that you can watch next. You just need to click on it. It's a 1-hour course for people who are new to an alcohol-free life. It will give you everything you need to know in order to start moving forward, but very gently, without any pressure. So take a look at that next, and I'll see you soon on the next video.